All right, good afternoon, and welcome to the Capital Investment Committee meeting of April 28th, 2022. I'll call to order, and we'll have approval of the minutes, so consideration, I'm sorry, we do need a roll call before that. We'll go ahead and take roll call. Alderman Blanton? Here. Alderman Brown?
Here.
Alderman Hanson?
Here.
Alderman Berger? Here. We are all here. All right. Consideration of approval of minutes for the March 24th, 2022 capital investment meeting. May I have a motion?
Move to approve?
Any discussion on the minutes? All right, all in favor? Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson?
Yes.
Alderman Berger, yes. Thank you. Number 2, consideration of the grant for water availability at 6740 Manley Lane. Michelle?
So this one is, it is a property outside of our city limits, north of the Grassland Estates neighborhood. So north of our service area in our, north of the city, I should say. It's within our distribution area. We've added all of these units to our water model, and it appears fine with being able to provide that capacity. So we're recommending approval. Applicant has requested approval.
How close are we to the sewer that we put in before up there in that Grassland area from that designated area?
The sewer, I don't.
Meadow Green, are you talking about?
Are we,
Are you
I
s-
thought we provided
It's a low-pressure system
sewer.
that's out there. It's pretty
Remember,
far
we
away.
provided sewer for the county residents out there?
It is a little bit, it is a little bit farther away. I don't know the exact distance.
Mm-hmm.
I can get that back to you.
But this is only for water.
But
Yeah, this is only for water, I
yeah.
know, but I just wonder if that
It's
was
not
nearby.
immediately nearby.
No, okay, I was just curious if it was near that area. All right,
Motion to approve.
Second.
all right. Alderman Blanton, Alderman Brown, second. Okay, all in favor, Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson?
Yes.
Alderman Berger, yes. Thank you. Motion passes. All right, number 3, consideration to grant water availability for 3021 Del Rio Pike. Michelle?
So this one is also outside the city limits, on the west side of town, north of West Haven. It is contiguous to the city, and we've had, actually, this one is, we've had discussions with HB&TS, because this kind of is a little bit of a gray area as far as who is serving. And so congruently with this, we're also working on a boundary map with HB&TS to kind of solidify those boundaries. So we are going to serve this. We're going to serve this property, and then there's some areas that we agree aren't in our service area that we're going to give them, so we can do that. So you'll see a resolution for that coming soon. For this availability, though, we recommend approval. The applicant is seeking approval.
Okay. And this is only for water.
Motion to approve.
Correct.
Okay. Do you have a
Second.
second? All right. All in favor, Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson?
Yes.
Alderman Berger, yes. Okay, number 4, consideration to deny sewer availability for 2405 Fox Haven Drive. Is this something they've requested for denial, or?
Yeah, they've requested for denial. It's
Yeah.
north of the city limits, north of Sneed Road.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this is a bit
Right.
out. They want to remodel their home. The county is requesting, or
Right.
they're requiring them to get denial from us.
Got
So
it.
they can continue that.
All right, do I have a motion?
Yeah, move to approve?
Second.
All right, all in favor, Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson?
Yes.
Alderman Berger, yes, passes 4-0. All right, item 5, consideration to deny sewer availability for 4357 Murfreesboro Road.
Okay, so this one is outside of the city limits on the western side of town. The closest sewer is about a mile away. The applicant has requested denial. We're recommending denial, so they can, continue to remodel their home.
All right,
Okay, I appreciate the maps. Can't even tell where. I mean, it's like,
Is this,
okay, it's a map,
you have to put a,
all I can see is Murfreesboro Road, and so when you zoom in, sometimes you can see street names that's like Blurville,
No.
like amoebas on
you
a
do need to
screen.
put some,
usually I check them. Is this one not?
No,
Up
I'm
to
just
par.
like,
well, look
what's
at
this-
that.
what's this
Where,
property? I don't
where is
know.
that? Where is that?
You just threw me off
Exactly.
when you said west, because it's actually east, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm sorry, east of
Yes.
town.
Yeah, I'm not
Too many
seeing
units are
this.
close together.
Yeah,
Okay, so-
I'm
65.
like, there's the fountains, and then we're passing something else, and then.
Okay, so where is this exactly? This is past,
West of North Chapel.
Wait, I
It's
see
by the
ball
church at,
fields, maybe.
it's by the church on
Yeah.
North Chapel
Is
and 96.
yeah, I was gonna say it must be North Chapel's, right? North Chapel's
It's
right
not
there.
sand, but it's like, thank you for the map, but
All right.
We need some
it ain't
benchmarks.
helping.
I
The
do.
resolution's like, I see
The
65.
school. All right.
Okay, so
Well,
we'll
So, motion to.
I was gonna say, map notwithstanding.
have a little bit more detail.
Motion to approve denial.
Second.
All right. Hold on. 3-7. Okay, that was 4357. All right, all in favor, Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson?
Yes.
Alderman Berg, yes. Thank you. Passes 4-0. Number 6, consideration to deny sewer availability for 2340 Henpeck Lane.
Okay, so this is outside the city limits, west of the new Oakwood School on Henpeck Lane
Yep.
that we connected to. I'm sorry?
Legacy.
Oh,
Legacy.
Legacy
Legacy,
Middle
I'm sorry.
School,
Yeah.
Oakview
Oakview,
Elementary.
yeah.
Oakview.
It is, so the applicant is requesting denial. We're recommending to denial. So sewer is not inherently close to this property, and the way that their contours fall, it doesn't fall the way that our sewer would connect to it. And we've not really done any sort of design or consideration to bring the sewer around to them.
Okay, motion to approve and then comment.
All right.
Second.
Second. All right. Alderman Blanton?
So totally off base, but since we're all here, heard a political commercial that has confused me, saying that we're getting a traffic signal at Henpeck Lane.
That is correct. The county, Williamson
I'm a
County,
county commissioner, obviously.
yeah,
but-
Williamson County School System was required to put in a traffic signal there as part of the school project.
Got it.
So it is not in the city of Franklin. We're not part of that review of that plan.
Yet. So we're gonna get a traffic signal before it gets up to be ours, yeah. Okay. Meaning it's coming eventually, I mean,
Yeah.
it's.
Supposedly it's under construction
Yeah, do we know
now.
timing? Okay.
I know they're trying to order, I mean, this was 6 months ago, they were trying to order poles and everything else, which take a long time.
Yeah, we know the plan.
Yeah,
Dana and
We
I
wanted to
were
go in that
concerned
business,
that-
didn't you?
Yeah, you're full.
it is under construction.
Yes,
They've
they
already
will.
started constructing the foundations for the poles.
Okay.
Okay, I knew that, I mean, I knew it wasn't us, but we're around it.
Great.
So that's great news, actually. They just need to do one on the other end of Henpeck, too. So, all right, sorry, didn't mean to go.
All right.
The rails.
Any more discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson?
Yes.
Alderman Berger, yes. Number 7, consideration of draft change order number 3 to City of Franklin Contract 2018-0226 sanitary sewer lateral lining with BLD, building? Service, with building services at a cost of $462,000. Wow.
So
Okay.
the contractor is BLD Services, yeah. So this is, there was a number of engineering projects that didn't occur this year that we had in our budget. So we've actually taken those monies and put those toward lining, so we can kind of continue to reduce some of the I&I that we see in the system, trying to play catch up from, all of this year's work that we've done.
Wow. Interesting. All right, any
Move to approve?
Second.
discussion?
I mean,
All right. all-
We like that lining stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier.
It sure sounds like it.
Do quickly.
Yeah, I feel like we're just gonna keep seeing linings.
Well, they work.
It helps
It works.
prevent some other problems down
It
the line.
does help.
That's it.
It does help. Okay, all in favor, Alderman Blanton?
yes.
Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson?
Yes.
Alderman Berger, yes. All right, number 8, consideration of draft resolution 2022-32, resolution authorizing the city administrator to approve agreements and the use of condemnation if necessary to require right-of-way and/or easements for the Pratt Lane Bridge replacement. Jonathan, or Paul?
This item, exactly as you just read, is a resolution authorizing us to proceed with actually acquiring the easements and right-of-way necessary to construct that project for widening the bridge. We've
All right.
received the final appraisals.
How big is it gonna be?
Yeah.
I remember when we drove over it on that bus, it was pretty scary, but.
It's about I want to say about 12-foot widening thereabouts. We're building half of what will eventually be, the proposed widening in Connect Franklin is for that to be, the expansion would be a 3-lane bridge with curb and gutter.
Why do you need a 3-lane bridge? You can't turn on a bridge.
Yeah.
It would connect, because it's such a
The road
short
would be
bridge,
that.
the roadway's 3 lanes total, and it's such a short distance, it's like a 20-foot length of the actual crossing. It wouldn't make sense to narrow back down for a 20-foot bridge to widen right back out on both sides. So it's easier just to go ahead and make the crossing rather than narrow down for the length of the bridge.
And this had actually been one of the commitments the
good.
city made when Ramsey relocated down to that
Oh,
site,
yeah,
that that
that's
bridge would
right.
be
Yeah.
replaced and upgraded, so we're following through
Yeah.
on that commitment.
That's true.
Oh, I'm sorry, I jumped to the next item, I'm sorry. This is actually, I'm sorry, I jumped to the West Main, I was reading the wrong item, so
Yeah.
I apologize.
Pratt is not gonna be 3 lanes.
No, Pratt's gonna be 2 lanes, I apologize.
Okay, I was like, I don't
Sorry.
understand.
I was jumping on the next
Yeah,
item.
this is Pratt.
But
Yeah.
this is
I
a
was gonna
small,
let it
this
go.
is a
Yes,
relatively
it's
small.
two, it's, yeah, in essence,
Pratt
it's the
Lane
same, they're the same.
It's 2 lanes
It's
with a
2 lanes,
multi-
bridge replacements.
It's 2 lanes
Yeah.
with a multi-use trail that is
Yeah.
supposed to be finalized by,
Yes.
So
Okay.
there's not a turn lane or.
No, not on this one, not on
That's
this one.
what I'm
No,
saying,
sorry about that.
3 lanes, I'm
Okay.
going.
no.
Yeah.
No, sorry about that. I jumped on the next item. I jumped to item 9.
Margaret
Yeah,
Bridge.
yes,
Yeah, Marcus.
Yes,
that's the one.
Say AKA Martin Bridge.
Well, you know, we can have that designation now thing in honor of, yeah, we could name bridges if we want.
Yes, no, that one's 2 lanes still. And that one's
Alright.
that one's actually a full replacement. And the one caveat to that one, and everybody needs to be aware of this, is that one is planned since it's a full replacement, we will be routing traffic through Reams Fleming while that's under construction.
No, interesting.
So there's really no other way to build
Yeah, it
that.
shouldn't
be
be,
a while.
it shouldn't be a problem. It's a handful of houses and we're
There's
not
not a lot.
Yeah.
going through a commercial area, so it won't be an
Most of the
issue.
folks in Reams Fleming are staying within the Reams, they're not
Out.
accessing and
No,
using that.
to
It's
that
really the
area.
Properties
All right.
beyond, south beyond there that would have to be routed for a short time.
Okay,
Do we have a
do I
motion?
have- do I have a motion?
Wait a second, I got a
No.
question. Is
Go
this
ahead.
part of the same conversation we had in BOMA this week with the different variables, the 10% versus and 15% if on roadway access
Oh.
easements?
On this,
Acquisition or
no, I
no?
don't believe we've
Okay.
added the 15%.
This is
there.
the old standard. The only one we're doing right now with the 15% is the Long Lane project. And the reason for that is because we are doing an early acquisition on the Long Lane project with a larger piece of property, and that's going to stretch over a much longer period of time. These other resolutions and with our typical acquisition process and negotiations, we're closer on having the appraisals and having all the process just kind of go straight in a row. So we didn't feel the need to go ahead and try the 15% on
Yeah,
those.
the standard should work.
Standard is 10%, and that typically works for us. The Long Lane was just a unique instance where we thought the 15% would help us on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, good question. This is a small number of properties. too,
Yes.
So we feel, and we're right,
It's only 3
yeah,
properties.
we're right on top of it. The long lane is a longer term one too. That helps
Yes.
us with that.
All right, ready for a vote? Wait, oh, we don't have a motion.
Motion to
I'm
approve.
confused.
Second.
Just jump right in. All in favor, Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson?
Yes.
Alderman Berger, yes. All right, we are at number 9, consideration of draft resolution 2022-33, a resolution authorizing the city administrator to approve agreements and the use of condemnation if necessary to acquire right-of-way and/or easements for the West Main Street Bridge widening. There you go.
This is the one I was previously talking about. We're acquiring right-of-way and easements from 2 properties, and there'll be Middle Tennessee Electric easements required from 1 property. Middle Tennessee, you've already seen an agreement between the city and Middle Tennessee on a previous board agenda. They're acquiring those easements because obviously if the condemnation were to become required for that, we can't do that in their name, so they're doing that on their own. We'll be acquiring the properties necessary for the project that would be in the city's name or ultimately in the state's because it's a state route. This allows us to do that acquisition and ultimately proceed to condemnation if necessary. We just received the actual documentation for appraisals about a week or 2 ago, and one of our staff members is beginning the negotiations now.
Okay. Any questions? Or
No.
motion, please?
Move to approve?
Second?
All right, all in favor, Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson?
Yes.
And Alderman Berger, yes. All right, item number 10, consideration of draft amendment 1 of City of Franklin Contract 2019-0233, a professional service agreement with Alfred Benish and Company for the final design of the Old Paytonsville Road and Long Lane Bridge and Connector Project, yay. Increase, whoa, of $103,030. It's a yay and a whoa.
So
Who would like to speak to this?
there's 2 parts of, there's 2 primary points of this particular amendment, two reasons for this. The larger portion of it is for the subsurface utility engineering that'll be performed on this. You've seen that with Church Street, and you've also seen it come up with the Liberty Mallory project. We're doing that as well for the Long Lane project. So that's a component. Our designer, Alfred Benish, is going to hire another consultant to come in who specializes in this. That was not included, obviously, in their original design contract, so they're including that with this amendment. The second one, portion of this amendment is where they did some additional design services for the intersection of Long Lane, and Old Paytonsville Road. So just on the east side of the bridge in the future, we've always designed that it's going to be a two-lane bridge, and where that 90-degree turn is now, that kind of the dogleg turn, that's always been envisioned in the future as being just a T intersection, but knowing that the Baskin property to the north, at some point in the future, and talking with the family, their intention at some point in the future is to develop that property. We did not know at the time, when we've been talking about a three-legged intersection, what the serviceability would be of adding a turn lane into that property headed northbound from the bridge side. If we were to add a turn lane in with the design currently, it would not allow but about a 2 or 3 car turn bay. So any sort of, and that's a lot of property to do that. So we had our designer come and look at that and see what it would take to modify the intersection. And anything we did with a traditional style intersection was going to require us to go modify the piers that were just placed in there with the I-65 widening, which would not be a very good thing in our mind. So we asked our designer to look at some different options for us. And we've discussed some of this with the board a couple of months, maybe 2 or 3 months ago. And ultimately, at this area, we talked with the Baskin family too and asked what their thoughts were. And they didn't have any direct plans right now, but they were thinking, and we asked them what their thoughts were with a couple of different options. And with the understanding that if, we don't know what we're going to do now, we can't properly size what those bridge enhancements would need to be to even change the plan, so we would not want to guess. We would just proceed with what we had today, knowing that in the future, they may have to upgrade the bridge, which that's not palatable for a developer. That's not palatable for the city either. So the best option for us right now, and I know Brandy's not going to want to hear this, but is, with that being single lanes, it's a roundabout. But it is it would be single lane approaches in all directions at the current time.
Is that all we
Buy
need?
that property adjacent to the ag center that we were talking about?
We have not yet, but we're in final,
It was like-
That's covered in the resolution you passed Tuesday.
we're in final
That's
negotiations.
very helpful with that.
Yes. That was the reason for pushing that particular resolution, was we're in the negotiation stages for that piece of property.
So,
And this amendment covers the services for all of that coordination and the design to get that intersection designed and on paper where we could do that early acquisition for that piece of property.
so you said single point.
Single lane. round.
Single lane
Single
roundabout.
lane, I'm sorry, not single point, single lane.
Now, one of the movements does have dual through lanes.
They do, okay.
Yes.
Okay. And how large will the roundabout be? Because we don't want it, even a single lane, to be too small. That's the problem. We have to be large enough for trucks and moving vans and everyone to get around there.
This will be big.
Don't
That's,
it will be.
that's why there was a significant cost in this. We
All right.
looked at this for several
and it
months.
makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, but the other one does not.
And the big benefit from this particular aspect at this location, it doesn't require the development of a turn lane, so we don't really have to modify the bridge piers.
Oh, thank God.
So there may be some
That's
changes
right.
to the abutments, but we haven't built abutments yet, so that's not a big deal. That's just paper changes. So there's no changes to the actual piers in the roadway. So that was a big benefit on this particular design in this location.
That would be expensive.
We'll bring that out once we finally get to the public meeting and present that to all the residents. In my opinion, single lane roundabouts are a no-brainer. Double lane roundabouts are a little bit more complicated, but to me, single lane is absolute
long
no-brainer.
as
They're very
It's hard.
forgiving.
The other thing too is you will always see amendments with our roadway designs. I say that because in the initial phase of the design, we don't necessarily understand the utility relocations required. So what we're typically asking them to do is functional level utility design, meaning identifying corridors and locations only, but not getting into the nitty-gritty design. And the reason is they can't scope the design because they don't know what they have to relocate. So once we get the preliminary design done, we move into that utility phase. It's very
Then
clear
you-
what they have to scope and what it should cost, and we're able to negotiate that. Otherwise, they'd just be throwing a huge number at us that it's a guess, and we don't want to do that.
And typically, if they throw a huge number at us up front, they're going to eat that number up by the time that we get there. So we'd rather hold off, use the information that we have to develop a more accurate number later on, and then use that number when we get there. So you will see another number at some point for the actual
Yeah.
utility relocation design, but it'll be with known information when we get there, based on what we're doing now with the subsurface utility
Yep.
engineering.
Or you don't want to touch the pilings. That would be pretty bad. All right, do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second,
Thank you. All in favor, Alderman Blanton? Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson?
yes.
Alderman Berger, yes. Passes. All right, we are to item number 11 for capital projects. Do you all want to highlight anything before we take questions?
One of the projects I'll highlight is the partnership we're doing with the Franklin Special School District. If you haven't been out there, is it Freedom Intermediate? I always get those
Freedom.
middle,
Middle.
sorry. I
Middle.
always get the two reversed, but
My backyard.
there you go. Stooky's Ball Fields, we'll call it that. It'll be
Yeah,
easier,
there you
it'll
go.
be
I have to
easier
do
for
that
me
for you to
to. Okay, well, maybe not then. It's your backyard then. We'll call it your backyard. If you haven't been out there and get a chance to drive through, we're finally starting to go vertical with the buildings. And actually, I say we're finally, we've been going vertical now for a while. We're making very good progress on that and should still be wrapped up later in the summer. When I say late summer, late calendar summer, so in the September-ish timeframe. We won't be playing on them this year because we have to wait for the turf to actually mature and let the grass grow. But we're making very good progress, and it'll be a facility where both organizations will be very proud of when they're done.
So not this year, but next spring?
Next year, next
maybe?
spring.
Next baseball season.
Yes, correct.
Playing baseball and softball there.
Yeah,
Correct.
Yeah. What about the sidewalk coming down 96?
We've got all the actual sidewalk. If you drive down through, obviously it's all done. What we're doing now is going back and repairing the roadway to get that done and finishing off all the final details like final grading, getting signage put in place. We'll be doing final sod, cleanup, all that kind of good stuff, signage. And what you won't see a final topping of the pavement necessarily, knowing that TDOT is going to come in probably late June, early July to start paving 96 West. There was really no point in us doing the full paving, knowing they're going to come right back in and mill it up. So we've worked with them to coordinate that.
Any other questions on the project? Do
We're
you know,
paving Downs right now. That's moving along.
what's the update on Lewisburg?
I don't have a specific update from TDOT. I've not heard they're
They're still
behind.
moving?
They're,
When are they supposed to reopen that?
End
road?
of June.
Into June, yeah.
Okay, and do we have any idea about our condemnation this morning? Didn't we go to court this morning or yesterday? For McEwen?
they're going to court a lot. They have a lot of them.
Yeah.
They had a
Um,
huge docket yesterday.
They did. I have not heard an update, but yeah, they had a large
Can you all
docket, I
get
heard.
me an update on that
Yeah, I
next
can
week
ask.
We
or
will.
the week?
I can ask the law
I'd like to
department.
have an update and see where we are. Yeah, we need to move. Unbelievable. Okay, and also in Clovercroft, are you,
Moving forward with working with streets on some additional signage out of Clovercroft.
Yeah.
And for the full board's knowledge, we were asked by a few property owners and Alderman Berger to look at signage on Clovercroft Road. And so we did so comprehensively with looking at the city and the county section. Ultimately, we can't do anything in the county section, but we did make recommendations to them. But there are some signage that we're going to add on Clovercroft Road to just help make some of the curves more visible and the speed reductions essentially more visible and make people more aware,
More consistent.
more consistent with
there's
standards.
something out there? Yeah, it is. Crazy.
I mean, if you're a sporting kind of person, great.
The next big project we're probably going to bid is going to be Robinson Lake is what we're working on now. It's going through the DRT review process, but is very close to going to bid. As soon as we get through that process, we can advertise that and get that out. So that'll be exciting project to get done with the dam rehabilitation, a parking lot, and a beautiful trail system that'll be around that lake. So it'll be a fun project.
All right, any other comments? May I have a motion to adjourn?
Seconded.
All right, all in favor, Alderman Blanton? Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson? Alderman Berger, yes. This meeting is adjourned.
Real quick, we averted disaster today. TDOT was going to go in